Howdy Meeps, and welcome to the Meeple Syrup Show.
Oh, hey, we're live and on the air.
Hey!
Welcome back, everyone. How you doing?
Great.
Us, you, the audience, everybody. We're great.
You're all great.
We're back.
That's good.
We're gonna.
Happy to be back.
Good. Welcome to the Meeple Syrup Show. It is. I don't know what season we're in. What season are we in?
We're in season awesome.
We'll see season 2.
Yeah. Okay. So we
based on our podcast schedule.
Based on the podcast schedule, we're in season 2. And it's hard because I'm in this skinny rectangular box on screen. So those of you who are listening can't see me not showing you how many fingers are up because I'm making a 2 sign, but nobody can see it.
Or is it a peace sign?
That is 2. Hi, Zach Connolly. Good to see you. Congratulations, by the way, on launching Lots. I think it launched yesterday. Was it yesterday? I got to go back that stuff.
I was gonna say, look, at least a day or a couple days ago, maybe. I saw it pop up on a few shares. I was like, yay, it's out.
That's totally great. Shem Phillips, hello, Shem. How are you doing? Yes, we are back, and we're ready to give you guys the goods. And Andrew Wolf is there. Hi, Andrew. How are you doing out there in Seattle now? Wow, big move for Mr. Wolf. That's great. So we're back, and we're ready to start this season of the Meeple Syrup Show. As I said at the beginning, this is season 2 after the reboot, and we're looking at changing things up yet again. We'll go through that as we talk about what we're doing in this season. But first, let's start with our convention recap. So where'd everybody go? Starting with Jesse.
Busy summer.
I did KublaCon and that was it.
Yeah, so you were at the Protospiel. It's a Protospiel there, right?
Yeah, I went to the Protospiel there, I guess, but it was technically a convention I went to. But I just went to the Protospiel room.
And how was that?
Yeah,
it was nice. I mean, it's always nice when there's a convention that's like an hour down the road from you and you can spend the nights in your own house. And so, yeah, that was really nice. It's a really cute little event. Bigger than I was expecting, and the Bay Area design community is fantastic. So it was always great to have an opportunity to hang out with those guys and get some work done.
Can you tell us a couple of the people who are part of the game design crew in the Bay Area? I know Luke's there.
Yeah, so Luke's around.
Luke Laurie.
Yeah, Luke Laurie, and he's someone that I would only run into at an event like a Protospiel. He's not actually part of the really local group that I hang out with. There's also Jonathan Pack.
Canton? Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Who's in the group, and from the set of people that I see on a weekly basis in Mountain View, there's also John Breger, who we've had on the show this last season, and John Velgas, who just had Finger Guns come out with Indie Board and Card, and Michael Dunsmore, who's just had a game with Smirk and Dagger called We Need to Talk earlier this year come out.
Nice.
So.
And then was Ed Baraff there and Seth and everybody?
Seth was there and Scott Rogers also showed up. He came up from Southern California, which is not a short trip. And Ed normally would make KublaCon, but conflicts kept him away from KublaCon this year.
Right.
But Ed Baraff is normally there with Pencil First.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a pretty strong design community around here. And I believe Matt Leacock might have popped in. If he was there, it wasn't during a time that I was there, but he's around in this area somewhere.
Yeah, he is around that area.
There's a lot of people in California.
Yeah.
A big state, of course, right? But also a lot of really cool people that are designers are in that area as well. So tell me, Jess, you're leaving California within the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And what are you going to miss about the design philosophy that's there? Is it different than what we do in Canada? Is it?
I don't know. I don't know that there's like so amongst the like core designers, what I'm going to miss is just having such a availability of so many part-time and full-time developers.
Mm-hmm.
So between the two Johns, John Velgus and John Bridger, and Michael Dunsmore and me, that's 4 half either part-time to full-time people who work on very different kinds of projects all the time. Like Mike likes real-time games, and like We Need to Talk is kind of party game-esque, and John does a lot of work with more Euro-styled and American-styled things, and I do sort of whatever is interesting to me at the time. And so there's just this nice little diversity that we have. And every other Sunday, we do this playtesting event at Game Castle, the local game store, which is a fantastic space. I'm going to miss that space.
I've seen many pictures.
Yeah, and the cool thing about our Sunday playtesting event is we only advertise it on Meetup, but we get like 6 or 7 non-designers who will turn up every other Sunday just because they're interested in seeing what's being worked on.
And I mean, I guess that's part and parcel of living in Nerd City, USA.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to recapture some of this magic by connecting with the
anywhere is like Nerd City, USA, if anywhere is like Mountain View, KW has that potentiality to with all the tech people that are there and stuff. So I think that's great. Yeah, and so we'll be back in Canada, solidly by October, right?
October 1st I'll be moved into Waterloo. We'll be back sometime at the last week of September, but
right, we get a secret Jesse sighting.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's on our
we'll
schedule.
Come back to
that. So what about you guys? What did you guys do this summer? What were your conventions?
Well, I mean, Erica and I missed Origins, and
Origins falls on Father's Day, and we got
game
families.
next year, I think, right? We talked about
it. It is, I think.
So chances are we're not going to get to go because family.
I did Dice Tower.
Yeah, tell us about Dice Tower.
So Dice Tower was great, but I'm already sad to say it kind of doesn't exist anymore. It won't be there next year. It's changing. Dice Tower has always been fun, though, because it was kind of that convention where you would still see industry people. You'd still get to see a lot of designers that you just actually get to sit down with and play, which is awesome. Like, it really was more of a relaxing playing con that still had enough other people or industry people around that if you wanted to do business, if you wanted to progress things, like, it could be that too. So it's kind of nice that you could choose which one you wanted to be. You could turn it on, off whenever you wanted. So I'm kind of sad to see it go. Because yes, it's basically, I guess the best way to put it is it's rebooting. It's going to be smaller, change locations. It's almost like a complete reset. I don't know if I'll go back right now. I'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the same.
Okay, and then I was at San Diego Comic-Con.
You were at Comic-Con,
which is super fun. Daryl was there. Hi Daryl. He's over there in the chat. And Andrew was there because it's in San Diego, and Andrew was in San Diego at that time. So that was super cool, getting to see how the comic side of things runs conventions. And I mean, obviously, I've been to other conventions that are comic-based, but this is the big deal. This is the mothership, right? And it was nice to be there. And some really interesting takeaways, excuse me, from San Diego Comic-Con in terms of having a booth there is nobody wants to demo a game, not on the sales floor. It's
just totally want to buy, right?
Different. Yeah, they just want to buy. Like, oh, that has a character I like in it, mine. Oh, look, that looks cute and fun, mine. And I think that's fine and that's great. And they do have areas. So up on the mezzanine, on both sides of the mezzanine, actually, it's all gaming. It's computer games and Pokemon and Magic and D&D Adventures League in several of the rooms. And then a couple of the rooms are board gaming rooms. And they're not poorly populated. They just are a little unorganized, but that's okay. And then there's actually even more gaming on other sites. So there's like a whole other gaming room in another hotel. And there's like a pinball arcade in one hotel. So lots of gaming actually going on. Our panels were, I mean, to say they were sold out would be a lie because I don't think anybody pays to go into the panels, but they were full. And so much awesome. So that I think Daryl tried to get into one of them and he's like, no, you can't get in. There's no room, which is kind of interesting that there's that much demand for game-related content at a convention that is ostensibly not about gaming. And so that was pretty cool to see. And we had a lot of good times, met lots of people, got to see, IDW and the op people in their home environment, which was nice. Didn't get to go to the offices yet. Sometime maybe I'll do that. But next year we're planning on, even more presence for gaming at San Diego Comic-Con. So hopefully that's a thing that will be regular for some people. Whether or not me, whether or not it's me, that's one of those people. I'll still go when I can talk, but it's a different thing than a lot of gaming conventions. Excuse me. So at 9:00 at night, maybe even 8:00 at night, nothing happens. Right? So at a game convention,
like everything just shuts down.
Kinda. Like everybody leaves the convention area. I don't know what they do. But at a gaming convention, most people are playing games till like 4 a.m.
Yeah, but that's right. You have to play games until the morning crew, the people who went to bed, wake up, so you can
switch.
Yeah,
you can switch.
maybe they all have parties or something. Maybe they
do. Maybe there's things that the cool kids do that I was not invited to. I don't know.
Unless the thing to do is just go back to your hotel room and read the comics you bought, but
or refresh for the next day because you're gonna have to stampede some people for your next like exclusive.
Oh yeah, and there are
refresh.
There are ridiculous lineups at San Diego Comic-Con. There's like day-long lineups to get to see what the next Marvel movie release thing will be and all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy. It's pretty ridiculous.
It's kind of the line. Follow people on Twitter.
Yeah, nothing that I want to be in that line for.
I'd still love to go next year if I'm not going to do Dice Tower. I was like, I can't do both because they're back to back. But I was kind of like, I'd kind of like to go because by then, and we'll talk more about like my other stuff that finally got announced. But I was like, I'm going to have so much comic book and like, kind of that sort of crowd stuff coming out. Right? I'm like, I want to go.
You should definitely. And I mean, one of your publishers is right there in San Diego. There you go. Travis Magnum's actually saying at Origins, a presenter was telling him how strange they found board game conventions to be, because in other industries, it'd be nothing but quick pitches, expecting to make a sale within a minute. And board game conventions are like, come, sit down, play my game for 20 minutes.
Let's be friends. Right? Let's go to the bar.
It's a different world. It's interesting, though. So an interesting story about that sales thing is I was talking to James Hudson, and within 1 day of starting, he reorganized his whole booth. He like threw out tables and like said, we're not doing this anymore. And so basically he had a bunch of demo tables set up in his booth, and it was better use of the space to let people walk into the booth and touch the boxes and pick up the boxes because they'd buy it, because nobody
it's a retail setting.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a retail setting.
Nobody wanted to sit down and demo the games.
Oh, that takes time. They got to go in the next lineup.
Right, they got to go line up that Funko thing, right?
Yeah.
And so a neat, interesting thing that my oldest son got to come with me. So he got to stand on top of the Funko booth and overlook all of the other booths. And the Funko booth also has a margarita machine on top of it. So that was kind of fun. He did not have a margarita with alcohol in it, but
for him.
Yeah, he had crushed ice that was flavored. That's what he had. So that was San Diego Comic-Con. And then after that, Erica, we were at Gen Con. I think that was the next one for us. And Gen Con was a big deal.
Gen Con was awesome, but it's that thing that just tries to kill you. It's like a week of it's a week-long marathon of like just get to the end and just survive. It's the gladiator arena of conventions.
It kind of is. I'm like if I was a gladiator at Gen Con, I'd be like the really fast guy with a dagger. That's what I'd be like. You're getting in there and stabbing people and then coming out, because I did not spend much time in that room or in that area.
No, you never do. So Gen Con. I mean, Gen Con give its own episode, but Gen Con was good. Got some fun stuff that I can never talk about this stuff, but fun stuff coming that came out of Gen Con, and big announcement. So Scott Pilgrim got announced,
which looks
at
great,
Gen Con. and they got to play the Kickstarter video, which kind of like explains a bit of like how to play, and got to show a lot of the setup and the pieces, because everything in it is 3D. Like everything. It's a giant playground of just throwing furniture and just shit at each other. I don't know if I should be swearing. We never really talked about that.
I mean, you're the editor of the podcast, so you can.
I can cut it out
yourself if you want.
Okay, we'll keep the podcast clean. Live is a whole other thing.
Yeah, live is live.
So anyway, that was awesome too. Is that Scott Pilgrim got announced, because it's been like over a year of my life at this point. So yeah,
very cool.
Like a year and a half, getting close to 2. Wow. Okay.
Now this doesn't sound like such a good deal anymore. It's a lot of time.
No, it's all good. It was just it is a lot. It's a lot. But
I'm just
like,
currently writing down something that I told somebody that I do while I was at Gen Con, and it's like, oh yeah, that thing.
We had follow-ups, people. You'd be amazed how many of them go accidentally fall through the cracks.
Up.
If publishers are listening, we're sorry. We don't do it on purpose.
So yeah, my Gen Con was pretty busy. I spent most of it actually with Matt and Brian. So Matt Kint and Brian Hurt from Hex Studios. It's a comic book studio with Marie Engers as the E in the Heck. They just had a Kickstarter that finished today, and they did great for a comic book thing. But Jay and I designed the Mind Management board game, and we actually demoed it like actually with Gen Con people, so that was fun. And Matt was there to sign postcards for people. And these postcards, if you get them, they're like a cipher for hidden things that we're gonna have in the green box. So it's kind of neat. And so that was pretty fun. It's actually the first time I've ever demoed a game at Gen Con that was not at a booth. That I was actually the one responsible for teaching the thing. So that was kind of fun.
How did that go? Like, what was that experience like?
I
mean, I've demoed, you know what I mean? Like, I've run my own game sort of thing, but like never in that type of capacity.
Right, with like collecting the tickets and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I actually think that some companies would do really well to have less at their booth, less demoing at their booth, and more demoing in the regular game space,
like player,
in the play area, because that's what it's for. And
you also want to keep
quieter in a different way,
right?
And you can run tournaments, and you can have like dedicated time slots where people are like signed in to come, and I think that's a really effective way of doing it. So that's how I would do it if I was to run a company, which I'm not ever. I say that now.
We can speculate on all these things we'd love to do if we ran cons, publishers, and everything else, but we're not going to.
We can do that all the time.
We're not going to.
No. So that was kind of Gen Con for me. A lot of Gen Con for me now isn't actually pitching anymore. I sort of do that. Yeah, it's follow-ups and show and tell. So it's like meeting with publisher A to show them game A, meeting with publisher B to show them game B that we talked about 6 months ago, or we signed last year, and we're just showing them this is where it is at. And then also meeting with people who I just want to meet with to talk to them about possibilities of future projects. And that's also good too, because there's a bunch of stuff that has been sort of talked about for a while and they're ready to jump on, and maybe my team has space to take them on for development or whatever, right? So lots of stuff, lots of possibilities.
Oh, and I think Boss sold out right at the very end of Gen Con.
Totally
so that was exciting.
Yeah, Boss selling out.
It was on the hot list, but I never got to see it. So, because you never see your own stuff. That looks like Gem.
It's Jamie Jones. I'm looking forward to Mind Management. I enjoyed the playtests I've had of it. Thanks, Jamie. We enjoy having you playtest our games.
Oh, yeah. And I saw, Shem, your comment about playing Boss. Thank you. He said he loved it at 2 players.
Sen, it's time for you to dye your hair, Steph is saying.
So, if you can find hair dye that can stick to this short, black, stubby, really thick hair,
it's called bleach.
I'll do it. Oh, but not bleach. No, not bleach.
You gotta
have to bleach it first.
Oh no!
Why do you think I am rocking the white rapper style right now?
Because you're a white rapper. Go ahead.
No, because I'm dyeing my hair pink tonight. I bleached it. It was bleached last night, and it's getting pink tonight. You gotta prime it.
That's
how it works.
way too much.
Mine's too light right now. No, it's not. It's not.
I know. So Banana and Ming have dyed hair, and it's like, I don't know. It's like too extra. too extra for me, man.
You just don't want to match everybody else. Is that what you're saying? You're saying
I stand out by not standing out.
There you go.
Helena volunteers to dye your hair, then, so that you don't have to do any work.
All right,
let's do that.
Let's do that. Let's
that could be an episode. Dye Sen's hair.
Oh, that as a Patreon goal.
Patreon goal. What color?
Patreon goal. Okay, you can pick the
what
color. All right. And then we were at Fan Expo. So this is like the first time in many years that Jesse wasn't at Fan Expo. Well, I guess last year
I wasn't either, last year. I don't know. Yeah, I've basically taken 2 years off conventions.
Right. So Erica and I were there, and it was actually a lot of fun. The best received panel was
education. Yeah. Standing room only. I was like, people, come sit on the carpet. It's better.
It was great. It was a really good thing. And I know.
What was that panel about? Education. I didn't see the program. Yeah, but education just.
Using games in education.
There we go.
So it was a little broad, and we had a lot of panelists. But that was a good thing because I think what I see from that is that there's interest in using board games in education.
Oh, yeah.
And there's use for each of these little substreams within using X in education. So game design as education, gamification in education, game-based learning in education, role-playing games in education. I think we could probably have a sub-panel on each of those 4 or 5 little subtopics.
We could have
level of involvement. So
there is entire literatures on each of those things.
Oh, yeah.
I could have told you that.
Yeah. Oh, no. We just weren't sure.
I know.
About
we didn't realize there was that larger community
it's
present at
interesting.
Fan Expo.
At not Fan Expo, so at San Diego Comic-Con and at Origins, and I think definitely even at Gen Con, like you can get educator badges that are cheaper.
I've heard about these, but I have never applied for any of them.
Right. No, all you do is show your school ID. Right. And
I wear it every day.
I know.
I just really do that.
And so they
go to cons to take it off, right?
Right. That's exactly.
And then switch it for a different badge.
Right. They really value
different responsibility
educators at conventions, I think. Because
there's good to know.
There's a whole stream at San Diego Comic-Con about how to teach curricula through the use of graphic novels, right?
Yeah.
And so games should do the same thing. And I know definitely at Gamma is very interested as manufacturers and publishers of accessing, teachers as a potential customer base, right? So it's very interesting. Cool. This is interesting. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Boom. And I will send this to Be Live later. The stream, I can't read the comment stream anymore because it is on my screen anyways, all compacted into one big glom of text on top of text.
It's
all good.
I'll catch you guys. Adam Young has suggested that we can solve your hair problem by shaving and then using a Sharpie.
Okay, let's not do that.
And Daryl has promised to bug me and try and drag me out to cons, and then they're just talking about Bosk now.
That'll happen. Jesse will be back in the con.
Once he's home.
It's just been there's been like work conflicts, but I don't have that job anymore, so it won't happen.
There you go. And the last thing that we did at Gen Con, I was on 2 panels there on designing.
We were on FanX.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What about our game jam?
Their game jam went actually remarkably well for the first time that we did it.
So for those of us that weren't there, what is the game jam and what'd you do?
Oh, Erica can explain it.
Okay. So it ended up being Sen, me, Kathleen Mercury, and John Gilmore decided that we were gonna try to encourage people to make games. So we decided, and Panda was providing a whole bunch of bits, which was awesome. So we did a little bit of a design challenge. So people came in usually like Thursday or Friday to pick up a little bit box to get them started. And we just kind of gave them, rough parameters of, choose something within a fandom, kind of because, Fan Expo. And we'll help you kind of work through an idea, and they could check in with us every day at 11, and we kind of like walk through or help them get through like design problems and stuff like that. And we had couples that were designing games, friends designing games, like kids designing games. There was mom and son were designing a game together, and anybody who could keep going through the weekend, we kind of rewarded them with one of these fancy boxes from Panda that had all the super fun bits in it. and just hoping to encourage them to keep game designing. It's,
Oh,
just letting them
cool.
know about where to take their prototypes to go play tested, and snakes and lattes and Proteo and that kind of thing. So hopefully we inspired some people to make some games.
Yeah, and it wasn't super formal. Like I do a super formal one at Chuck's, which is only like an hour or 2 hours of a game jam instead of like a multi-day one. And it's super formal just because we need to keep people on track because they only have 2 hours to do it. So I'll like announce at the half an hour mark, maybe you should start thinking about making an actual prototype, start actually making stuff. And then at the middle mark, it's like, maybe you should play test it now. And then at the 3/4 ways, it's like, maybe you should start writing rules. So just giving people those kind of formalized prompts to do stuff. And so that was Fan Expo. The other thing that we did at Fan Expo and at Gen Con, I'll bring it back to that right now, is we recorded a whole whack of panels. We've used some of the money from the Patreon to buy a audio recorder, a field recorder, and that has been great. So we've been able to capture a bunch of those. And so for anybody who is a Patreon member, we have been uploading those fairly regularly over the summer. So there might be 5 or 6 up right now that are either interviews with individual designers or publishers, panel recordings, those types of things from conventions that you might not have gotten to get to. So they are wonderful. And we'll talk more about our Patreon later, but that is something that is exclusive to our Patreon supporters. So thank you so much to our patrons for believing in us, and we'll continue to bring you some of the best content in board game design. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, I went to Grand Con. It was a busy summer.
Oh yeah, tell us about Grand Con.
Grand Con was awesome. So Grand Rapids is a really weird city. I've
only been once,
right? So I've only been to Grand Con, and this is the first year that I've went when it's actually downtown. And it's weird because you think, oh, downtown Toronto, downtown London, downtown Barrie, downtown KW, any of the cities that any of us have lived in, downtown Hamilton. It's like busy all the time. Toronto is ridiculous. Toronto like never stops. So that's a little bit odd. But even in London, because Jesse and I both lived in London, at 11 o'clock at night, there's still people out there doing things. At 12 o'clock at night, maybe it gets a little quiet. Grand Rapids, all day, nobody on the streets. It was pretty darn quiet. But it's a very nice city. It's a neat little con. It's well organized. It's like super well organized, like down to the minute. You be at this table at this time, and people will come and give you tickets. So it has that big con feel of organization that we miss from things like Fan Expo doesn't have that. So it has that big con organization. Yeah, right. But it's a little intimate, small con. I don't know how many people come through the gate, but it's not in like the tens of thousands. It might be maybe 1,000 to maybe 2,000 over the course of the weekend. I'll ask Brian, but it's really well done. And we had a panel there, so I recorded that, and I got to teach a bunch of games many times to many people. So I taught 4 games 2 or 3 times each over the weekend, which is a lot, but it's great. Yeah. So I taught Kingdom Rush. Unfortunately, Jesse, I had to show them the review copy, the preview copy. So it's all old content. I explained that to them. It's old content, but pretty. So I actually had my paper stuff there. I said, you can play with this ugly paper stuff that's, current, or you can play with the pretty stuff. And they actually all wanted to play with the pretty stuff because the miniatures are nice, right? So
well, yeah, no, I get it. I have the preview copy miniatures in my prototype. So
there you go. You're smart like that. Well, it's actually not even my copy of the preview copy. It's Michael Chang. I had to borrow that. Yeah, you got yours from Ed.
Yeah,
that's probably a good segue into kind of some of the stuff that we've got out or working on or coming up.
Cool.
So, sure projects we'll be talking about.
Yeah, what are our current projects? That is our life currently.
Kingdom
Rush. He's scanning a table full of Kingdom Rush bits, pieces, and papers.
And there's a wall, actually. If you've never seen the wall of Kingdom Rush, it's pretty impressive.
It doesn't look impressive right now.
Because you guys are moving.
We're moving. So, we've been taking things off as they get finished or otherwise have been delayed until after our move. So, it's only got 4 stickers. There's only 4 numbers on the wall there.
That used to be at least 10 times as
many. The things to be finished before Sunday morning.
Yeah. So that's been taking up time. So Kingdom Rush is one thing. What else are you working on, Jess, other than that?
I have Diesel Punk Apocalypse, with Travis Chance. It's a co-design with. Colossal has it, and it should be Kickstarter January probably.
Oh, cool! I didn't know it was that soon. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and I talked to
it's been under
Zev.
a couple delays.
I talked to Zev at GrandCon, and he said that there's something else.
There is. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but
okay.
Yeah, we're not saying anything until it actually is
locked and loaded,
until it's printing.
Even better.
Yeah, so so there should be another project with Travis that is out before Christmas or around Christmas.
Great,
nice.
Yeah.
And there's another current project that you should announce, Jesse. What con are you guaranteed to be at next year in April?
Oh yeah, that's fine. No, there's I'm excited to go, but I don't know.
Don't be silly about it.
Yeah, so
I just say that because I was going to say, when will you actually next see Travis? Because you guys don't live anywhere near each other.
Yeah.
So.
Gathering.
He should be there. So that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Erica, what are you working on?
So the nice thing is finally Scott Pilgrim got announced. Steven Universe got announced.
Yeah, I saw that. That's super happy for you,
out.
That was awesome.
Very excited about that because I got announced right alongside with the movie coming out. So hopefully people will be excited because there's not a lot of Steven Universe products. So, and if you're a fan, you're used to waiting a really long time for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I heard that comment from you.
Yeah, look, if you've ever watched, if anyone is a fan of the show, it's like, oh, I don't know what the Cartoon Network is doing, but they don't do that show justice. They throw it the wackiest things. They'll put 5 episodes out, then there'll be nothing for months. Then they'll dump 2 weeks in a row, then there'll be nothing for a year. You're like, what are you doing?
So as fans of Korra, Jesse and I being big fans of Korra, we feel for you.
They at least moved it online and got consistent. This is way worse.
I don't know. About
anyway, they still keep going. They gave it a movie, which is awesome. So the movie just happened, and so super excited that the game's happening because if the game does well, I know that they want to do more Steven Universe products, and there's even a chance at maybe doing minis at some point. So we'll see. This is a battling card game. I think the art's probably gonna be gorgeous, and I think it's fun. I think it's a fun game.
I hope they make all the gem cards like glittery and
well, so we did ask for gems, so because technically it's called Beachapalooza. It was called Beachapalooza Bash at one point, but I don't think they like the word bash, so it just got dropped.
Too violent.
And the idea is because there's so much music in Steven Universe, it kind of is a little bit based on that idea that there's a giant concert happening and all the corrupted gems are sort of party crashers. And what you're trying to do is they don't kill things in Steven Universe. They usually pop them and bubble them.
Right.
So you're trying to bubble the monsters to sort of save them. And you're doing that by activating your gems while they're on stage. And so there is actual little crystals that you're using as energy sort of thing, but they're very reminiscent of actual crystals from characters in the show. So anyway,
and what else?
Super nerdy. Yeah. I can't talk about the project, but I do have something coming with Spin Master, so that's cool. And that's a co-design. Sen and I have something as well coming that we can't talk about the name yet, but we did have a really good playtest to start. So I'm very excited where it's going, considering it's moving very quickly in the right directions.
Yeah,
so
it kind of just clicked, right?
It did.
Erica and I, we actually recorded that, Erica.
Did we?
The first time we were talking, because we were doing it over Skype or something. And
our planning session. I forgot.
And it hasn't really changed much from that. I mean, it's just right now, it's just numbers, balance, and flow. I think that's really where we got kind of messed up, is because we never played it before. And so we put it together in front of the publisher for the first time, saying, we've never played this before, but we think it works. And it kind of did.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Well, theoretically, you get to a good mode where you're you can tell if something should work, but you don't necessarily know what it feels like. And so most of it, we could adjust very, very quickly to get the right feel. And so now it's just sort of finding that, we're tweaking.
And we got formalizing it all. Putting it in writing, I think, is important so that they can test it without us, which is kind of what we want to happen.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
So that's great. Interestingly enough, most of the project that I have on the run, other than Kingdom Rush with Jess, so mind management's a thing, but it's pretty done. It's just we're getting some really cool artwork from Matt for the map and whatnot. So that's good. And then I've got a couple others that I can't really talk about yet, but ones that I can talk about.
Saying that, okay.
No, ones that I can talk about are some RPG stuff that I'm doing with Banana.
Yes.
So Banana Chan and I have been writing furiously as of late. I don't know how this happened, but it's like, oh, let's just make this RPG. It's like, yeah, let's do this, and it's done. Like, it's this thing is kind of a thing already. And at Big Bad Con, which is a San Francisco area, Bay Area convention in October, she will be demoing Jiangxi, Blood in the Banquet Hall, which is a game that we designed around Chinese restaurants and vampires. And in 3 minutes, it was full. Like, just people just want to play this. And I don't know why. We don't know why. But it's awesome.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
So, yeah, we're super happy with that. And we've been pitching it to publishers. And every publisher we've talked to has been pretty positive. So that's good. Which is funny because she's also a publisher herself. So she really just wants to get it out there to somebody that has more reach and more clout than she does, which is good. I think that's a neat way of doing it. And we're probably going to look at like a co-publishing deal so that we control content a little bit, because we have some really strong opinions on who the artists should be. For art, like we want it to be definitely like Chinese people, because it's all about Chinese things. And then, so that's cool. And then we made another one just in one night. So Jesse knows this because Jesse has done RPG projects with me before. And I like artifacts. I like paper product at the end that you can look at and go, oh, that was from the game that I played when we did this thing. And so we made this one. She said to me online one day, have you ever played like Exquisite Corpse games? Because we were talking about actually making one out of a cootie catcher. An Exquisite Corpse, if you don't know what Exquisite Corpse is, it's when you fold a piece of paper up and then one person starts drawing and then folds it down and the next person draws the next part and the next person draws the next part. And so that's an Exquisite Corpse thing. And it's from the Surrealist movement where you end up with, when you do the big reveal, there's this thing and it's all weird and wild and wonderful. And you can do it with words as well. And so we thought, what if it was an Exquisite Corpse game about an exquisite corpse? So it's Exquisite Corpse, Chimerical Detective Agency, where it's a corpse, like a body. This is the murder victim. This is the place they were found. This is their the letter that you found on them. And so the first round is everybody's drawing those things as you go around or writing the words. And then the next round, you are drawing the suspects. And the last round, you're drawing like disguises that the suspects are trying to escape in. And you just tell a story while you're doing it. And it remarkably worked well. So much so that our next guest, who's coming on next week, played it and was like, I'm taking all these pictures and I'm binding them into a book, because it was just super fun. And Julie Ahern from Greenbrier Games will be our guest next week. And she and Robert Geislinger from Quartermaster Logistics played the game with us, and it was hilarious. So
I saw the pictures of that on Facebook out of context, and it looked fun. So
So that's
like whatever produced these artifacts was obviously entertaining. It was the lesson I came away from.
Yeah, and then we also got to playtest one of our other RPGs, and I can't really talk about it, but Travis played it. Travis is over there in the chat, and he gave us some great feedback. We played with Isaac Vega and Travis and Gilhova, and got some good feedback. Though they're not like super hardcore RPG players, it's still super relevant, and it was great to play with them. So that's what I've been doing lately, is more writing than designing. It is designing, and then obviously finishing the stuff for Kingdom Rush. So there we go.
There's a lot of narrative overlap that's happening. Like I would have said, that's definitely a theme that I'm noticing with a lot of publishers at Gen Con. Was this idea of this blended narrative and what that can mean in gaming now. And that's going to be a very interesting world to explore. And I think it'd be a fun one at some point to do on one of our segments that we may as well start talking about where we're going next with the season. And so I guess one of the things we're going to be doing is kind of combining some of our dissecting and designing into a new one that we're going to call Digging into Design. So we can kind of explore multiple ideas in different episodes.
And have more shovels.
and have more shovel, and also have guests explore these topics with us.
Yeah,
especially
that's
the
right.
braver ones, because it seems like not all designers are willing to do design on the spot sometimes.
That's okay.
So we're good. We're super excited for the people who are have agreed to be our brave guests to participate in some of the things we'd want them to do with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are our, so yeah, as Erica said, we're changing things up this season from last season, keeping some things that worked, and we're going to try some new stuff. One of the new things is, as Erica just mentioned, the digging into design episodes. We are also going to try another new kind of episode, which we're currently calling community episodes. And those episodes will focus on bringing community members who are also Patreon supporters onto the show to, I don't know what. We're exploring a bunch of different ideas.
Yeah.
It's going to be our alchemical experiment this season. The main thing that we want to do is we want to have, more of the Meeple Syrup community than just us being on the show and talking and being present. And so we're going to use these episodes as a way to have more explicit audience participation. So we love
anything, right? As simple and as direct as you have a Kickstarter, come plug it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
To as complex as, let's talk about this issue that you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of stuff we could do.
Well, we're talking things like you can, if people just want to ask us questions directly, that's all good. But if you want to start posing things that maybe we can help you with design problems. And we also thought about the idea of you guys suggesting topics or discussions that either you'd like to be a part of or that you wish were part of the show.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of ways that this could go because everybody has different levels that they like to participate at.
Yeah. So we're going to experiment with that this season. And
let's talk about our upcoming guests. No, it's okay. I just wanted to say that upcoming guests, we already talked about Julie next week from Greenbrier Games. On the 25th, so that's September 18th. On September 25th, we'll have Chris Rowlands and Kathleen Mercury. And we're going to be talking about overcoming barriers, creativity.
I am so jealous.
Time management, workflow, juggling real life and other jobs, playtesting, all that kind of stuff. So how to overcome all the mental blocks that occur during the whole design process, like swimming upstream type of thing. Then we're going to be looking at our first industry one for the season, and our guest will be Pam Walls. And Pam is coming to talk about her event called ProtoTO, which is a Toronto-based prototyping event. It will actually have happened just the weekend before she comes on, because she doesn't have the time and wherewithal to do it the week before. And that's actually great because we're going to be special guests at the ProtoTO event where we'll have a table and you can all come up. We'll be live streaming from the table. Any people there can come and give us your pitch on the game. We can help work through some problems. If you have questions or we need feedback, have a sell sheet, whatever, we'll be there to help you with that.
And we're going to be doing a bunch of live to air spots, I believe, as well.
Exactly.
So you guys, you'll be able to see what's coming to the tables and who's at the tables as well, because we thought we'd have some fun friends and other designer guests come on as well. So maybe they could help out with some people's questions and designs.
Right. Yeah, so that's the that is a big thing to make sure that you're aware of. It's the last weekend of September. And Meeple Syrup will be live for most of that weekend. So if you're going to ProtoTO, come hang out with us and drop by and show us your game, show us your sell sheet, and let's have a chat. And if you're not going to ProtoTO, still tune into the Facebook page over the weekend because we're going to have content from ProtoTO all weekend. So that'll be something worth keeping an eye on.
Cool.
Yes.
So going back to the community episodes, Jesse, not only because it's what's next on our agenda, because we jumped something, but because it's actually next on the list of guests. So October 9th will be our first community episode. And I have here, Jesse, that you're going to announce a book club.
Oh,
Can
yeah,
you
right.
explain?
Yeah, so this is this will officially start with that community episode, but I'm still looking for some books and things. But over the summer, there was some chat on the Facebook page about a book on designing for empathy.
Right. The shop talk page. Right.
Yeah, that's right. The Meeple Syrup Shop Talk page, which if you don't follow, you should totally check it out and follow it. Lots of great content. Awesome community. And it was suggested, someone had said, "Oh yeah, this looks interesting. I just, I never finish anything." And I was like, this sounds like a perfect topic for a book club. And so what I'm going to try and do is I want to find a good book. It might be the Empathy Engines. It might be something else. I'm still looking around. And on the first community episode on October 9th, I'll announce what book we're doing. And then, folks will be invited to read the book along with us. And if you're a Patreon backer, I will be organizing little book club meetings every week where we'll get together, not live. It'll just be a like Skype chat or whatever, Google Hangouts thing. And we'll talk through the chapter. And then by the time we get to the end of it, my hope, and this is, I'm making no promises, but this is what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping that whatever book we pick, the author of the book is accessible enough and interested enough to actually come on the Meeple Syrup show to talk about the book, and we'll be able to take questions or comments or discussion points from the book club discussion and use those to structure the conversation with the book author.
What a great idea. And so that book club stuff might become something that's separate from this particular Wednesday show.
That's right.
And might be something that's even bigger than what happens on Patreon. So look out for maybe more content as we...
we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Onward and upward.
So
we've got spotlights right after that. Are we going to continue, or we want to keep some of the secret? What do you want to do?
No, because that would be our second spotlight. So why don't we talk about that? Back to our guests then, right? Upcoming guests?
Yeah. So October will be 16th is Lizzie Funkhauser will be on, and we'll talk about some of the games she's been co-designing, as well as the very popular page that they're managing. So that's like there's community spotlight and design. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the next digging after that is our only unbooked episode till the end of December at this point. So we are looking for another brave designer who would like to join us for a design topic or a dig into a particular mechanic or like game in some way,
or ideas about a topic too. I mean, if you don't necessarily want to be on, but there's a particular type of mechanic or style of game or just something that you wish you would love to hear people in the industry really deep dive into, then let us know, and that might be enough of an inspiration for us to figure out who to get.
Right, or if there's somebody you'd really like just to have on the show as well. Please feel free to suggest. And then
our next Inside the Industry is going to be with Deirdre Cross. So she's actually runs Forest Prezan / Funko Games. So it'd be great to kind of talk to someone who's at the top and see how all of that's sort of been kind of trickling down and how that's been working with the big Funko and this design studios again, which is something that I think is definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch.
Right.
Again, then we got our community episode, and then do you want to keep going?
Yeah, sure. Why not? People are interested.
You guys. All right. How about the next person?
Is Julio Nazario. Julio is an amazing designer. So if you ever are at a East Coast prototype unpub type thing and you see something on the table that looks just wacky and outrageous but still cool and functional, it's probably one of his designs. He is one of the most creative table presence kind of people out there, and I'm super stoked to have him on the show November 13th. On November 20th, Jesse, this is your suggestion. It's Keith.
We're going to talk to Keith Mateka, who's the Thunderworks Games, so the role player verse is what we're going to talk about. A game that has grown up into now a series of games built into the universe. And so we'll talk a bit about how about everything to do with role player, but particularly I asked if you'd be interested in talking about how the business side of things and the game development side of things has influenced the story and world building side of things as role player has grown into its own thing.
Right. And then we have my brother from another mother, Kwanchai Moria, coming on November 27th to talk about probably not what you think he's going to talk about. He might talk about some other stuff, or at least from another perspective. So it'll be most likely about art because it's Kwanchai, right? But hopefully from a deeper perspective than what we're used to hearing from Quanchai. So, fun fact, Quanchai was a special guest at Fan Expo this year, and it was amazing to hear him talk about the process of being an artist and the industry side of the art and things like that. So hopefully that's what he'll bring to the table that day as well. And he'll just blow your mind with a lot of cool stories about projects he's been involved with and how he works. December 4th is another community event. And December 11th. I forgot JB's going to be on. That's awesome.
Yes, JB's on, so he's booked because he's got a bunch of stuff that's coming out at that time. So it's great timing. So Flotilla will be out. His Papillon will be in stores, and I think he said that Reavers of Midgard will be delivering. So he's excited to talk about kind of like all of them at once.
It's kind of the year of JB. He's done a lot of great work.
Stuff.
Him and
I
Mike
actually got to play. Yeah, I played Flotilla at Dice Tower, and I really liked it.
Very cool.
I like the concept. It's a very interesting idea. So I'm excited to see it come out.
I am as well. I'm super excited. And then the last one for the year is somebody who I've personally been trying to get on the show for a while.
We got him.
Yeah. It just doesn't line up with somebody who's an Australian who works in Great Britain. So our times don't always mix up. But because he'll be in Australia on December 18th, traveling home for Christmas, he'll actually be like a literal, it'll be 9 a.m. for him, right? It'll be like half day. So instead of like 4 o'clock in the night, which it would be in Great Britain-ish, 3 in the morning.
We're not doing that to him.
Yeah, we're not doing that to him. He is going to be talking about writing narrative in gaming. So look at that. From that first thing that we talked about with role-playing games, and then we talked about Keith and world building, and now we're talking with Matt about writing narrative into gaming. There's that. I sense that disturbance in the force. You're right, Erica. I truly
think it's a big conversation coming. Yeah. I really do. And that takes us to our New Year's episode. So I think that's more than enough.
Yeah. Well, we haven't booked anything past that, so there's not a lot to say. Yeah. But that is pretty cool.
So it's going to be a pretty awesome season. I'm really excited.
I'm really looking forward to it. One other thing that I don't know if everybody can see this, but this is going to be on twice now. Look at that. So both down here and up there.
If you can see, so let's describe what you're pointing at.
I'm pointing at the Roll to Play Podcast Network logo, which is wonderful. So we are now part, officially, of the Roll to Play Podcast Network, where Kent Blue and Kristen and Tim Devine and a whole bunch of other great role-playing people are podcasting. And they asked us to be part of that network as their first tabletop board gaming, card gaming segment on their network. And it's a total honor to be that. We said, hey, we're not huge. We only have 1,000 odd people who like us. No. We really like what you do. We really want to support you, because it was I just asked a question online one day. What was it, Erica? How do you do this stupid RSS stuff? Or something.
Oh yeah, I think you were asking about RSS feed because we had an issue with we're trying to figure out to get the old one off and things like. Anyway,
and
I just started the podcast for now.
And I think Tim said, "Hey, are you guys looking for a host?"
Oh, okay, quick backtrack and question in the comments. You never mentioned the name of the designer that we're talking with on December 8th.
Oh, he did, but you might have missed because someone said they cut out for a second. So
it was Matt.
It is Matt.
Yeah,
it is Matt.
He's the co-designer of Elysium, and he's the designer behind all of Cosmos adventure games, which are kind of choose your own adventure, point and click adventure type things, which are awesome.
Cool.
So he'll be talking about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Anyway, Roll to Play Network.
Yeah,
yes, so we're on a network.
Yeah, and Erica has been working super hard over the summer to do a couple things. So why don't you tell us what you've been doing, Erica? Because I don't even know. I know nothing about RSS, and you've taken it way beyond that.
It's technical for Sen. It's all good. I will teach you guys how to do all this stuff at some point. So what's happened is, and we've got this slightly delayed on the show too, so that there's kind of actually always content coming out. Every Monday, there is a new episode coming out. We're already on episode 7 of last season, I think, which was the developer episode with John Brieger.
Oh.
So that one just went up, and you can subscribe pretty much on every platform at this point. I spent the summer getting us approved for everything. So we're on everything from we're on the Google, we're on Stitcher, Google Podcasts, we're on iHeartRadio now, we're on iTunes, we're on a lot of the smaller ones. If you are on Android and don't use any of the bigger ones I just mentioned, like there's like Overcast, Player FM, like there's tons of them, because you have to reach people and they don't want to add their own RSS feeds. You can do that if you want. They're available on the Roll to Play network, but we actually have links on the Roll to Play network as well for all of those hookups, depending on what your platform is. We should have you covered now.
So, Erica, even if people watch us weekly, what is the benefit of downloading that content?
I cut things out.
like sense costs.
Well, so yeah, I mean, it could be if we mentioned technical difficulties, usually I'll cut those out. If it's cleanly cut out, I'll cut out pauses and breaks and ums and ahs and things that don't say, I mean, you don't notice them live because live is totally different. But when you listen to them through here, it changes it a little bit. So I try to just clean it up as much as possible.
Okay. And the other thing that people can do, if you are downloading our content from anywhere, please do give it a rating. 5 stars would be super nice.
Subscribe and rate, please. Subscribe and rate.
It really actually does help get the content out to other people who are searching for relatively the similar content that you like, right? So if they see 5 stars on podcasts like ours and Ludology and whatever, they go, oh, that's quality. I'm going to listen to that as well.
That's right.
Whereas if there's no ratings, they're like, I don't know if I want to waste my bandwidth on that.
Yeah. Right. I will say there's a couple of rough spots on a few of the first episodes that are not cleanable, but we've been upgrading our technology since then.
Yeah, I blame me. So, it's probably me.
Well, I thought at one point of putting an apology on the front, but I was kind of like, you know what? It's
charming. If the
it
first
is what
couple
it is,
episodes are
and
rough.
it stops. I think we have nothing like that. Once we flipped over to all the different systems, and most of us have better microphones and things like that now.
What we should probably do is put a tag on there, like this was recorded live on this date.
Oh, we could definitely actually add that to the
so people know that this is a live show and it's been edited for clarity, but we can't catch it all.
Yeah, it's been edited as much as you can edit a live show for podcast
which
format.
Is hilarious because I listened to this one show called Cults. It's in my effort to build a role-playing game about escaping a cult, but it's called Cults, and everybody who is on it sounds like they're robots. It's really weird because they do so much editing and processing of the voices that it sounds almost unhuman. But the content's interesting, but it's just like when I listen to it, I feel like a part of my soul is gone.
Like almost maybe like you joined a cult.
Yeah, almost maybe like I joined a cult.
Oh, maybe it's priming you.
But this is all like this, like banter and back and forth. I'm used to that, right? So yeah, I get that.
Awesome.
What else is happening with the Roll to Play?
Well,
network?
we're coming to the end of the show, but we were going to mention quickly just our patrons and Proto-TO, because those are kind of like next both big events and people that we want to thank.
Right. Okay. So quickly, our Patreon. If you look for us on Patreon, it's just patreon.com/meeplesyrup. And please try to support us. That'd be great. We would love it. It does give you access to some pretty cool stuff. Like I said, we've been recording podcasts for that we don't actually release on our podcast stream. These are exclusive to patrons of the program. So for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to all sorts of cool panels and interviews that nobody else gets access to. Yeah. The other thing that we're going to be doing through that Patreon is what Jesse was talking about for our community episodes.
Community episodes
in the decision-making process and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Book club, when it launches, will also be a Patreon bonus
thing.
I don't know what you call it. Backer reward? I don't understand these systems.
Supporter reward program.
A perk. And so
they're all Kickstarter to me.
Yeah, it's all Kickstarter. We're also going to be using the money that we get from that stream of income from the Patreon to improve the show for you. So be looking for a couple new things over the course of this last half of 2019. Last quarter of 2019, I guess, where we'll be investing that money back into the show. Okay. Last couple of things. Prototio Live we talked about already,
Yep.
but we'll just plug it
Yep.
one more time, please.
Yep.
Just know
That's
it's
the-
coming.
Last weekend of September, Meeple Syrup is going to be live most of the weekend. So tune in when you can and see what's up.
Yeah.
And then last thing is, how do we connect with each other? So reach out to us 100%. We want to hear from you. We love hearing from you. But if you don't know how to get us, here's how to get us. The Meeple Syrup Shop Talk page on Facebook is 100% excellent way of reaching out to us. If you want to reach out to us in private, you can message us there as well. We'll get it. I don't think anybody ever has, though. But you can do that on the Meeple Syrup page as well if you're on the show page. So there's the Shop Talk page, which is one. There's a show page, which is the other. On Twitter, you can follow us at Meeple Syrup. And then individually, you can follow us as well. So Jesse is at TT Void that he never looks at. So
I'm trying to be better at the Twitter thing.
Well, we can poke him every once in a while.
I have the app on my phone now. So at
that's
TT
a good
Void.
step. That's a good
That's a
step.
huge step. And Jesse is going to be much more immersed in game design now that he's finished his postdoc.
Yeah.
So
October 1st, full-time freelancer.
yeah, definitely look out for him on Twitter. He'll be doing much more to, promote himself, which is great. Erica, where are you at?
I'm at Frenemy Games. It's Frenemy with an I.
Mm-hmm. And you can reach me at Senfeng Lim, SenFoongLim on Twitter. So that's where we are. That's where we're at. And that's this last quarter, season 2, after the reboot on Meeple Syrup. That's where we're at. That's where we're heading. Any
We're
last
back.
words of advice or comments, or what do you think?
I think we're gonna have a good season and tune in for fun things.
Yeah.
All I feel like doing is just repeating traditions. Like, if there's one piece of advice you could give to game designers everywhere,
tune in for more other good advice.
That's
Right.
right. I would give you the advice of tuning into the Meeple Syrup show every Wednesday night.
I really would. I think we offer something that's a little different than other game design podcasts and video casts, and I like that we're different. So hopefully people also enjoy that. So definitely pass the word around. Get your friends who are starting game design to check us out. We're fun, I guess is one way to put it. We have a good time doing fun, and we also have some good information. So that is one piece of advice. In terms of the rest of stuff, I think everything.
I think that's it.
That's it. Oh, Jesse, you did want people. You said you wanted people to come up with a tagline for us.
Oh yeah, right. We don't have a sign off, so we're open to
we
suggestions.
Want to fix that?
Yeah.
To avoid awkward endings.
We've got the
awkwardness that is going on literally right now.
We've got the question and the deer in the headlights look, but we don't have a sign off. So if you got any suggestions for the sign off, then throw that up in Shop Talk and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think
something that we could say at the end of every show, and see you later at the game table, or something.
And bonus points if it's a breakfast pun.
Ooh,
yes,
or it has
that's
a syrup
our
or a
thing.
cheap pun or a meeple or maple.
Yeah,
pun.
that's right. Yeah. We like food puns around here.
We just like food. Let's be honest.
So, anyway, on that, I think everybody should get something on the table, play test something. Until next time.
Yeah. We'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Meeple Syrup Show. If you'd like to support us on all of our projects, please check out our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Meeple Syrup. Hope to see you next week.